All right. Good morning. I am H. Robert Silverstein, MD, as you can tell with my stethoscope on my neck, sitting here in my ancient cashmere sweater that's got holes in it. But I love it so much because it is very old and it's very soft. It's about the softest sweater I own. Okay, so I like these sweaters that have the zipper down part way. I think they're called 3/4 or 2/3. Uh, I don't know. Anyhow, today's topic is obesity. There will be a few other points that we make along the line. So if you have any questions, you can contact the station or you can contact me at the Preventive Medicine Center, which is in Hartford. We have a website, the Preventive Medicine Center, or you can simply call 860-549-3444. Obviously, I'm home now. Hang on, I don't think I have enough of the flowers. Those flowers are really quite nice. So, anyhow, today's topic is obesity, and I just read an article from the February 27th New England Journal of Medicine. Now, that's probably the most prestigious medical journal in the United States at the present time. That and JAMA. By the way, they're both very left-leaning. They have a clear political agenda, which is unfortunate, but the facts are facts. And so some people will object and others won't. Periodically, I object. I like even-handed. As I've said before, I'm a registered liberal Democrat, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate the common sense. And to skip to politics for today, before we get to addiction and overweight and obesity, Trump is following the will of the people. I went through that on one of my Facebook pages on all the items that the will of the people. He has 80%. Uh, he has 60 to 80% support from the American public, and that is what it's about: the will of the American public, for things like uh, XY not being in XX sports, uh, deportation of criminal illegal aliens, and seeking out waste, fraud, and abuse in various government agencies, reducing the size of the government. And it's not like I'm trying to pat Trump on the back. He's poor at presentation, but so far he's been excellent at performance. And you have to separate those two. All right. I don't want to sound like a cheerleader. I'm common sense and looking at what the will of the American public that voted him into office, and that is the nature of our nation. People get voted into office. We have high taxes and high energy prices here in West Hartford, Connecticut, because we voted into office those people who made those decisions, which are affecting us. I could say hurting, I could say helping, but I said affecting us. And it is important to remain non-emotional and even-handed. And my fellow Democrats have been screeching and ranting lately. They sound so absurd uh, when they could have even-handed discussions. All right, let's get to the obesity discussion. Article that I read today talked about the value of Jardiance. That was what the article was about that particular drug, empagliflozin, and kidney disease. And it showed that people with kidney disease are helped a great deal by that diabetic medication. It turns out, for some reason, that particular medication is extreme. It causes excretion of sugar into the urine. It takes sugar out of the body. Well, first of all, that's a hint that which raises our sugar is not good for our health just in general, and kidneys in particular. But it also turns out to be, and our heart in particular, and other organs in particular. So it's not just the lowering of the sugar, but it is the other aspects. It is that plus other aspects of the behavior of that particular medicine, Jardiance. I'm a believer in Jardians. They've done the hard work. I believe we need to support hard work. The other comparable SGLT2 medication are also effective. I'm not sure they're as effective as Jardians, but there's uh, evidence that such is the case. All right. Let's see. One of I have a slide presentation on my website. What is my website? www, obviously, and then it's the preventive medicine center.org. The easy way to remember that is the word the, and then preventive medicine center is PMC. So www.thepmc.org. All kinds of educational information there. So I guess I'm saying a lot today. Sorry about that. I was about to say it again. Back to the discussion of obesity in my presentation. By the way, if you want to see that presentation, on the right-hand side of the home page of the Preventive Medicine Center, www.thepmc, is a title uh, that says The Unhappening of Heart Disease. I chose unhappening because I thought that was clever and would catch attention. It caught a little attention, but not much. Then when you click on that link on the right-hand side, it brings you to the video presentation. Don't put the cursor right in the middle because there's a very interesting, pretty video of Uncle Remus singing Zippity Doodah. But if you're slightly to the right of that, you'll hear the actual presentation on the unhappening of heart disease and the simultaneous prevention of multiple diseases. So I did it again. The concept of one of the slides that I have in that presentation is that there are 60 different conditions associated with, quote, obesity, close quote. Now, where does obesity start and why does it start? Okay, obesity starts, and this is tough. It's not like I'm perfect in throwing a stone. 73% of Americans are considered overweight or obese. That's just amazing. We are the fattest nation on earth. And unfortunately, I'm one of those members. What is the correct physical appearance for what defines not being obese? Well, I'm not talking about what are humorously called gym rats. But the correct concept is to be able to look down at your tummy and see where the muscles meet the muscles. And you may say, oh, I'll never get there. Fine, get as close to it as you can. If you're overweight and you can lose 5 pounds, that's a great start. If you can lose 5 more, or 15 more, or 30 more, there are very few people who lose too much weight down to the point of anorexia or cachexia. And anorexia, like anorexia nervosa, and cachexia is like what happens to people with end-stage severe heart disease, cancer, uh, or starvation. So it's yes, it's possible to be too thin, but the old saying goes, you can never be too rich, have too many black shoes, or be too thin. And that is a generally true statement. And when I say generally, I mean like at the 95+%, which applies to virtually all of us. What are the diseases of overweight? And bear in mind, I start although the focus of this discussion is, quote, obesity, it's not obesity that I'm talking about. It's anything beyond abdominal clear lines of definition and demarcation. So I did it again. The correct idea is to do various forms of exercise, uh, which is a good idea. Recently, what I've been doing and have discovered, everybody is focused on their tush these days. The way to build your tush is to put elevation on the treadmill and walk, not run. Running changes the anatomy. So if you walk at 2 miles an hour And don't try to force yourself to walk at 5 miles an hour or 4 miles an hour. Uh, 2 miles an hour at 7% elevation is very pleasant, and you can do that for a few minutes. Then you can go change what you want. So once more, I did it again. I get into these habits where I tell certain stories or say certain things to patients, and then it goes through for a period of time, maybe a couple of weeks or so, and it starts to fade out. And then I come up with something new. Today, I've come up with something new that is not in the right direction where I'm saying. So, anyhow, last night, by the way, was the Oscars, and I was not familiar. I had to look up to see what the movie Honora was about. It was the big winner. Apparently, it's the biggest winner ever, winning 4 Academy Awards at the same time. Production, writing, directing, acting, and I don't recall what the fourth one was. But congratulations to Honora, and hopefully I'll look at that. I tend to like Jason Statham movies, although I thought The Beekeeper was stupid. So going on, what about being overweight, lacking abdominal clear lines of definition and demarcation? That is the beginning of diabetes. That is the beginning of high blood pressure. Now, I need to take a little jog to the side about high blood pressure and overweight. If you look at China and Japan before they became more westernized, the people there were quite trim, fitting the definition or nearly fitting the definition that I talk about, yet they had an astronomical incidence of high blood pressure. Why was that? Well, salt also causes high blood pressure, as does alcohol. So there are several things that cause high blood pressure, but overweight is one of them. And overweight, 60 different conditions: high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, heart attack, angina, angioplasty, dialysis, stroke, sudden death, uh, back pain, anxiety, depression. All of these things are affected by one's overweight. And as I said, I don't have the list of 60 different things, but there are 60 different things. And really, I should change the discussion to proper diet and exercise, because that's how not to be overweight. Of course, you got to throw diet includes alcohol. Alcohol is a significant contributor in some people to overweight. It's alcohol. The highest calorie foods are oils, whether it's olive oil or avocado oil or the wrong oils like safflower and sunflower oil. Um, those those are the highest calorie foods at 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbohydrate have 4 calories per gram. So what I've just said is oils, butter, and cheese are the highest calorie foods. They're higher than steak. They're higher than potatoes. They're higher than bread. So I did it again. One needs to limit oil. I remember a picture that I saw of these pre-technological indigenous people somewhere in the Amazon, and they were all lean, trim, with abdominal clear lines of definition and demarcation. By the way, I have a slide of that in the Unhappening of Heart Disease video presentation, grand rounds of December 7th, 2023 at St. Francis Hospital. By the way, if you have a group that you'd like me to speak at, I am available. If it's sufficiently local, no charge. Give my office a call, and we'll set up a meeting. Uh, I like to play to massive crowds, so a decent sized audience is required, as well as a neutral space, we would say. I want to say so again, but I'm not going to. Diet, exercise. You take a look at those people, that indigenous population, what we used to call Indians, Indians from the Amazon. They are physically vigorous 80 to 90% of the day. Now, by the way, I only showed pictures of the men. The women are not so similarly built. They are more sedentary. The men are actually out there running through the forest. It is a jungle, tropical forest. They are climbing trees. They are climbing hills. So they are more physically vigorous than the women are. And the men have abdominal clear lines of definition. The men look like they've been to the gym. They look like they've been to the gym lifelong. And and that is as I said, the correct idea. Lowest percent body fat, which translates, I think, somewhere around 15 to 21% body fat, if you want to measure it. But you don't need to measure it. Just look down at your tummy and see if you can see where the muscles meet the muscles. That's the whole story. You're at your proper percent body fat when you look down at your tummy and you can see where the muscles meet the muscles. And yes, mea culpa, as I already said, I'm not there. And you may say, why are you not there? I have the same weaknesses my patients do. I have some patients who are better this way than I am, that way than I am, so on and so on. My diet is sort of in the right direction, and my exercise, frankly, is getting a little better. I also use a chi machine, chi machine, which sort of wiggles you like this. You put your feet, you lay down on the floor, and you put your feet in this gadget, and then it wiggles you like this. And supposedly that aligns energy. I think it's a good idea. I also have a treadmill that runs fairly quietly. And at 7% elevation and 2 miles an hour, I'm watching my TV and enjoying that. I also have one of those vibrating machines that you stand on. I can remember one that I tried out at West Farms Mall at, it wasn't Brookstone, it was one of the other companies online. By the way, best online company to look at things, Hammacher Schlemmer, Hammacher, Schlemmer, Schlemmer. So just look up hammacher.com if you really want to see some very well tested, top of the line stuff, which of course they charge you for that testing and they charge you for that advertising. So you can find it elsewhere, but they have generally the very best quote stuff, quote, to look at. And they have all kinds of things. I encourage you to take a look. As you know, it is shopping that is keeping our economy going at the 70% level. Uh, that's both good and bad. We probably shouldn't shop so much, but on the other hand, if we didn't, the economy might start to fall apart. Don't ever forget that it was Biden who created the 20% inflation that we are now living in and suffering through. 47, Trump has not had time to do much effectively. He's only been in office a few weeks. He's taking some right steps. I think Doge, D-O-G-E, Doge, and Elon Musk, a living saint. You may not like him, but I think he is totally honest. And when they talk about how he has $8 million a day contracts, he provided services to the federal government that the federal government wanted and needed. With regard to rocketry, he founded Tesla. He is the richest man on earth, deservedly, and he is probably the smartest, and I think entirely ethical. People want to make accusations for him. This is the screeching and rantings of my fellow Democrats, which I'm so disappointed in. They need to get with the will of the American public. The American public wants Doge doing its thing. Well, going on, instead of saying so and so, uh, going on. Addiction. I don't think I have it here. The New England Journal of Medicine, February 27th, 2025, had an article on addiction. What it said was very clear, and it is the real story. Why am I talking about addiction? Overweight's an addiction. The entire nation at the 73% level is addicted to the combination of not doing what we are supposed to do and doing what we shouldn't do. So those are high calorie foods and not enough exercise. Well, it talked about how it takes 5 to 7 years of support and direction for people to clear their addiction. Now, it was about substance use disorder. SUD was the acronym. And I think that overweight and obesity is essentially the same thing. The single most effective step in dealing with overweight and obesity, I gave it single, it's a combination. Be as close to vegan, vegetarian on unprocessed whole foods that are ideally organic as you can be. Animal protein is the major determinant of overweight. The only food group that I'm totally against is milk products because personally, professionally, I believe they cause cancer of the breast, cancer of the uterus, cancer of the ovaries, cancer of the prostate, uh, predisposition to respiratory infections, bunions, uh, predisposition to the coronavirus. And I can give you reasons why, but I'm telling you what I think. So my 100% position is absolutely no cow milk dairy product. Oops. Am I implying other dairy products might be okay? First of all, I don't consider almond milk and rice milk dairy products. Those are plant-based products that I think are okay. Not the sweetened ones, not the flavored ones, the plain ones. If you want to make it sweet, put in some blueberries. So there I did it again. Be essentially ideally organic, unprocessed, whole foods vegan. Brown rice, quinoa, millet, buckwheat groats, oat groats, not oatmeal, not steel cut oats, oat groats, uh, hulled, Hulled, that's how you say whole, hulled barley. Those are the grains. Now, the grains are for people who are trim because grains, like breads and cereals and pastas and chips and crackers and cakes and cookies, will keep weight on. Will stop your weight loss. So they have to be minimized to the point where maybe even none. Grains, vegetables, beans, fruit, nuts, and seeds is the correct idea. Ideally organic and unprocessed. I like almonds better than almond butter. Now, what if you say, well, I want some almond butter? Fine. I recommend Trader Joe's crunchy salted almond butter. The plain crunchy almond butter has no taste. Uh, Grains, I already went through those. All the vegetables, but especially the leafy green vegetables. Leafy green vegetables. Everybody thinks broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and onion when they ought to be thinking romaine lettuce, kale, collard greens, radicchio, etc. Carrot and beet tops, mustard and turnip greens, leek scallions. All of those are what you want to focus more on than the broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, onions, snow peas, mushrooms. And I think I made this up. I think because we human beings are solid, that is a yang, Y-A-N-G, down force. And we need up forces, which are the leafy green vegetables. That's also sugar and cigarettes and alcohol. But there are some things we should do that are up forces, and there are some things we shouldn't do that. The same thing goes for down forces. Well, it doesn't look like I got very far. I just got the note that I have 3 minutes left. So addiction takes, keep a paper diet diary. I recommend that you get one of those tablets with the rings on the top so that you can just write straight across and flip the page that way. Write down everything you eat. That's probably the single most helpful step I can tell you. And it takes perseverance to clear up these addictions. It helps if you move yourself towards berries, cooked vegetables, vegetable soup, and beans as your protein. And if you have a problem with beans, you might try taking some digestive enzymes. I like Digest Gold as a digestive enzyme. But on the other hand, you could be eating sauerkraut, or if you don't have high blood pressure, which vast majority of people do, if you don't, adults, if you don't have high blood pressure, you can make miso soup. You don't cook the miso in the soup bowl. You make the slurry of the miso and flip on the side and flavor your soup bowl with that slurry. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So if you have questions, please contact me at the Preventive Medicine Center, email, or simply more efficiently call the office at 860-549-3444. This is H. Robert Silverstein, MD, for the Preventive Medicine Center in West Hartford Cable Access TV. Good day and God bless you all.